Last time we began to talk about the different kinds of evaluation types, and today we're going to go a little bit further into formative evaluation and also start the conversation around process evaluation. Last time I began to talk about the different program evaluation types and highlighted needs assessment that are derived out of a rigorous data collection process that allows us to identify if there is a need for an actual program to address a social issue. Once we identify that there is a need for a new program, we develop the program, and then we're aiming to assess if the program itself is generating helpful information, but specifically informative evaluation. It's a new program, and we want to make sure that the plan we've created is being implemented as it should be implemented, and it also helps to stabilize the program. When we get to process evaluation, part of what we're doing in process evaluation is we're fully describing what the program does and how it does. We're monitoring the program for implementation fidelity, but we're also checking to make sure that the program has levels of quality that align with specific standards. So when we get to impact evaluation, we're primarily interested in determining if the program is working. So the first part of this that I want us to think about is what the purpose of formative evaluation actually is. And formative evaluation is used as a guide to direct new programs in particularly. So what I just said was that it is a program that has just been designed. And what we're aiming to do is to begin to see, are we implementing this new program as we planned it out? And the ways that we find out if we're implementing this new program as we planned it out is that we're gathering information from interviewing staff or clients, reviewing agency records, looking at progress notes, and also observing the program itself. How are participants engaging in the program? What do we see occurring in the program? Because what it aims to give us then is useful information around how will this information help improve the program itself. It also can inform us on how we adapt interventions to specific target populations and identify the best ways to actually reach the target population that we've identified would most benefit from this program based on the needs assessment. And so the piece that I want us to highlight was what partly Wilson did in the article you had to read for this week's class. So what Wilson was doing in this specific program is that they conducted an actual formative evaluation on their student-centered motivational after-school physical activity program. But they laid out a process around how they actually did this that intersected both gathering information around how they were implementing the program itself, because it was a relatively new program for them, through a 6-stage process. But what they also were doing was beginning to generate some process evaluation questions to be able to pilot and to be able to assess if the pieces of the program was being implemented as intended. The most important feature that they were able to do, though, was to allow the data and what they learned from this process to inform improvement in the program itself. So through this process of describing the program, which was their first phase in the program, the initial description of the program was based largely on the description of the program that they had actually laid out. So they were very detailed around what the program was aiming to do and how it was actually going to do it. Because in the second stage, what they began to do was as a staff and investigators, they participated in a set of activities to discuss the theory behind the program. First, beginning with the list of constructs and definitions that they had jointly created for it. The discussions that they really had were focused on the theory constructs, what they really meant, but also what it meant in terms of the training that they would provide for staff so that they would be able to implement the program as intended, which is a very important phase when you think about it in formative evaluation. Because the next layer, which was step 3, is for them to begin to develop a list of priority process evaluation questions for this pilot. Specifically, they began to identify but also select what were going to be the most important questions that they wanted to ask for this specific pilot, but also what were the available resources they had and what did they actually have to consider in the setting that they were going to actually examine these specific questions. Because in phase 4 of this process, they selected the process evaluation methods to actually answer these process questions. And holding in mind was that they developed the draft of the quantitative instruments that would aim to assess the level at which all elements of the intervention in the program were being delivered, but also the fidelity piece, which is really around the extent to which the intervention was being delivered as intended based on the theory that was laid out, but also the philosophy of the program as a whole. In stage 5, what they did based on these measurements that they generated, they pre-tested, revised, and administered the process evaluation tools to collect process evaluation data during this pilot phase. The data was collected from staff involved in the program implementation. The last phase that they engaged in was to summarize the process evaluation results from the pilot. And what they were able to learn through the summary process was how were they going to actually improve the program. And the point around both formative and process evaluation is to really identify how will the information gathered, the data gathered, really aim to improve the program itself. So part of what I will begin to really talk about is really what process evaluation really helps us do as a whole. So part of the reasons that we do process evaluation is because it helps us explain the reason a program did or didn't actually achieve its goals. And this becomes important because last week when I talked about goals, I highlighted that every program is aiming to accomplish specific goals. And the ways that they also accomplish those goals is through generating objectives that are oftentimes very specific in nature that are connected to the goals. In this context, part of what programs are doing in process evaluation is they're describing the program. And what it means to describe the program is to really document the operations of the program. What does the program do? How is it actually functioning? When we begin to monitor the program, in monitoring the program, we're monitoring how the program is being implemented by examining the goals and the objectives of the program to determine if they are being implemented as intended. It can be used to check a program's progress in meeting certain objectives. So holding, right, that part of what we're doing in process evaluation is we're gearing to identify the reasons that a program did or didn't actually achieve its goals. What I want to say about program monitoring at this point is that it's not necessarily a one-time event. This is an ongoing process that should be routine in nature. The last layer around process evaluation is quality assurance. and it includes determining if services are in compliance with a certain set of standards. So oftentimes programs have laid out specific standards for their program, and what we're doing here is really we're assessing if there is compliance that align with these set of standards. The next piece I want us to kind of think about is the process theory itself as it connects to process evaluation. Last week I talked about that theories are actual assumptions that we tend to test out, right? And similarly, in process theories, we've made assumptions that the program itself will have the capacity, the capability to provide the services that are accessible to the target population and compatible with their needs. And so what we're testing out in process theory is will the program itself have the full capability to make its service accessible to the target population, and will it actually meet the needs of the target population itself, right? And the ways that we approach this process is that we're thinking about how we do program process monitoring. And in program process monitoring, what we're aiming to do is to seek to determine if the program's actual services are sufficient for those that it is intended for, right? And so we're monitoring the service utilization, but we're also monitoring some of the organizational functions and program outcome monitoring. That is, do we see changes already that are occurring for participants because they're participating in the program? So we're collecting data at that point. But part of what we're also doing in program progress monitoring is that we've laid out a service utilization plan that is helping us determine if we have the correct population that is actually receiving the service. And what that means is that we've identified how the program will come in contact with the actual target population. Specifically, how will they be engaged to let them know that the actual program exists? And once we've engaged them, how will we make sure that they maintain in the program itself until they complete the services that the program actually offers, right? So one is around how will we recruit our target population? How will we engage our target population? But how will we ensure that they continue to be engaged in the program until they complete the actual services that the program is actually offering? Because oftentimes, what we're aiming to also do is monitor the duration and the dosage of the program itself, right? And this is where we enter issues around what we refer to as coverage and bias as we're monitoring the level of participation participants have in program. So oftentimes coverage refers to the extent that the participation by the target population achieves the levels of the specified services in the program design itself. So are the program participants fully participating in the program to the extent that they will benefit from the program? So when we have a program that is 24 weeks long, that meets twice a week for 2 hours, that is full coverage of the program. We enter bias in programs when participants attend the program at different levels. That is, again, the program is set up to be 24 weeks, twice a week for 2 hours. And we have participants who may only attend the program for 20 weeks, for 18 weeks, for 19 weeks. That creates the context where participants may not fully actually benefit from the full set of services that the program actually has to offer. And so what we're able to assess based on this is, can we reach them program goals if we have different levels of participation? but also it speaks to, do we have the right services for the individuals who are actually attending the program itself? And so what this aims to then offer us is, if we see that participants aren't actually attending the full program, we have to ask the question, do we have those right services in place? But also, do we maybe have the right population that the program is really targeting? The last layer that we'll add to this is a program organizational plan. And this is around how we're actually delivering the services to the actual target population. And in this delivery system, we want to be clear around what the services are actually doing, and what goals the specific services are actually aiming to accomplish. Further, we want to be intentional around making sure that we've made the program accessible for the clients, the consumers that we're actually targeting. If the program occurs in the evening and our actual clients, our actual families, and we know that families may have children, we want to make sure that we make there's childcare available so the families could attend the program. The next feature around a program organizational plan is, how will we make sure that the program is being delivered as intended, that we've actually trained staff fully in the program? If there's a curriculum that goes with the program, how will we make sure that the staff has been trained in the curriculum? But further, if we're relying on a curriculum, how will we make sure that the program has the curriculum before we begin the program? And so it's twofold that we're thinking about in terms of part of the pieces around how we're monitoring programs that are connected to then the faithfulness of implementing the program as intended. One was around the service utilization plan, and the second one is now around a program organizational plan. And what I want us to hold is the importance around formative and summative, formative and process evaluation, is that they give us information around program improvements. So the data that we're collecting is really geared to ensure that we are improving the program based on the data itself. And moving forward, what we're actually holding is that this data will help us ensure that we do have the right target clients, and that they are receiving the services that they need.